Agios est metatron bene magister et angelus divo.
Hindsight is 2020 because before, when we were getting details that the cucarachis was coming to a neighborhood near you, we did realize that there was a lot of leakage of footage that was coming up from sorry. Hold on. There was a lot of leakage of footage coming over from Wuhan and from Xinhua's neck of the woods, okay? And what you should realize, and I think we realized this a bit too late, even myself, is that the Communist Party is very, very, very controlling. It's like having that parent who wouldn't even let you drink unless they tested the water first, okay? So the fact of the matter is that we have all been a product of influences that have been projected to us via a goal and agenda of propagating fear and paranoia, and also anti-Asianic banter. And I've been a party to this as well. So, let me say that. Okay, I've been influenced by this as well. And what do I mean by this? Meaning that any footage that was released from Wuhan was purposefully and socially engineered in order to create a type of feeling, invoke fears and paranoia, and also to create coups, coups. How they do this, the Nazis were masters at this, and this is why we should always return to history. See, people like us to forget certain history because they don't want us to make them accountable for their behavior that is, perpetually done during cycle, always over cycle and cycle and cycle over cycles. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, the Nazis were purposeful in this because how they first were able to manipulate the populace is by adding, making it seem like they were here to make the world better, make things better for Germany, bring back certain popular, priorities of the nationalists. They would always do this first, bring up popular things, appease to the people's appease to the underdog's woes, make it seem like they can make things better. And then when they captivate the populace, then they lure them in, they take that fishing pole, lure them in, and they insert their agendas with their fears. So, you're seeing these Jewish people, as merchants, as being successful in Germany, as being, separatists in the populace, and they insert the paranoia that already exists amongst very few, and they propaganda it so it becomes more of a popular belief system because they're inserting their own agenda. Okay, we talked about the Nazis and what their true agenda was. I don't want to get into that, but I just want to show how that happens when there is a setup to allow for people to appease to people's woes and to appease to people's whatever their desires are, or to the things that they want for their families and for themselves. And then once you appease to their objectives, to their whatever they desire, then you have an opening to insert your agendas. Okay, and this has happened with Xinhua and the Asiatics on that side, and with Willy Wonka on this side. I realized that we were hoodwinked, even though there was obviously intel that was purposefully sent out there that was meant to create fear, paranoia, and also forms of prejudice and bias, so that we would fulfill their agenda by being anti-one, so that we would be so far into our coup-ish behavior, coups, okay? This person is a villain, this person is a villain, creating divergence and also division, so that we would attack each other while they're stealing all the gold out of your back pocket. This is classic, bait and switch. Throw something out there, confuse the people, set up coups on the other side, set people against each other, and then eventually, while they're fighting amongst each other, then all of a sudden, bam, You are in their pockets. You could do whatever you want because they're so busy in hatred and bias that you aren't paying attention to Willy Wonka's new laws and legislations. You're not paying attention to his inserted agents who are, control opposition that are now taking over, and they look appeasing to you because they are based in purposeful agenda insertion to drive the herd in one particular direction as opposed to another. Okay, so why do I say this about the MK Ultra? They did beta testing, especially and the beta testing wasn't just the toilet paper. The beta testing was when they were sending out imagery of what was going on in Wuhan. Now, I will say there were imagery that was true, but believe me, Xinhua wouldn't let any propaganda get out of their country unless it was to benefit them and theirs. Listen to me. Xinhua and his League of Doom over there wouldn't have allowed any bit of propaganda to come out of their neck of the woods unless it was allotted and controlled and in benefit to them long term. Because remember, family, what was going on was well planned, well organized, and was right on time from years ago. Okay, they had planned all this from years ago. I think we had books. You saw one of the insertions of a book talking about, and what was the other book? There was a book that talked about the agenda of the Brotherhood and how they were planning to send a cold over to the Xinhua's neck of the woods. But believe me, everybody on the top tier are friends. I've spoken this before. You're thinking that they're enemies. Everyone in the top 1 percentile are all sleeping with each other. They all play golf together. They all go on the same yachts together. There isn't any sort of division amongst the top tier. That, what they project to us, is a lie, and it is a form of propaganda to move the herd in specific directions and to insert forms of the MK Ultra to drive us to behave in ways that benefit them and theirs. Okay, so for that footage to come out with people passing out in the middle of the street in Xinhua's neck of the woods, for us to see hospital rooms, believe me, they shut down their cameras all the time in Xinhua's neck of the woods. See, I had to talk to people who are actually over there now, real people, not just people who are visiting. I spoke to the real deal Holyfield, and when Willy Wonka and his League of Doom over in Xinhua's neck of the woods don't want you to know something, they shut it down. You won't even know what color the sky is. That's how purposeful this communist nation is over there. If they didn't want you to know something, you wouldn't know. So best believe that what was being disseminated as far as on social media was purposefully set out there to create a certain answer to certain sentiment to the populace in order to, you just came from the hospital, it's empty. Oh, Jose just gave breaking news in New York City. Jose just said he went to the hospital and it was empty. Okay. Controlled opposition is real deal. And this is how they are purposefully driving the herd in specific directions, because as we know, and I've spoken about this before, including my own elder, my mother, many of your mothers, fathers, aunties sit on CNN all day and all night. If the gyms were still open and we were in quarantine, the gyms would have CNN and news channels, NBC, ABC on all day. That is a form of MK Ultra to influence your mind, to program you to behave or to see or to have a certain feeling that would allow for, oh, wait, Rhode Island husband in hospital, all empty. Oh, Nora Ann just, breaking news, Nora Ann just said all empty. U.S. Navy bombed Iranian boat. Thank you, Mar. Thank you for that. That's interesting. I got to check that out. Thank you for that. Okay, so a lot of our elders obsess because they come from a generation where, remember, radio was initiated in that generation. Remember when our parents were younger, depending on the age of your parents, my mom was born in the 40s and my grandmother was born she's 104, in 1900 something. Okay. You got to think that's when radio was big for people. People used to sit together in one family room with one radio before television came in and sit together and listen to the news. And it was a big deal to them. So they really have faith in the news disseminating information that they feel is imperative to their survival and actually relative. Okay, so that's why a lot of elders have a very difficult time listening to us when we tell them that everything is smoke and mirrors. It was very difficult for them because that's a part of their programming. They came from that time frame. Okay, wait. Cynthia says she's in New York on Staten Island and do not hear many ambulances and you're 12 blocks from a hospital. Oh, we got breaking news. Another New Yorker. Thank you, Cynthia. Cynthia just said something else. Okay, the question is cucarachas and the T virus real? This is what I will say. What you think is that, and big up to the interview I did with Unimatrix. It is an actual virus, yes, but it is initiated and it requires for our immune system to be highly compromised. And when I say immune system compromised, I mean your immune system of your consciousness. Let me say this again. Immune system of your consciousness. When you have low field behavior, when you are very biased, when you're sitting in self-loathing, lack of self-love, that is a compromise to your consciousness. That is a part of your immune system. What has been noted and also what I spoke to was a lot of people that were catching the cucarachas were suffering from forms of victimization, self-loathing, other health issues that are manifestation. Remember, health has to do with the manifestation of the mind. If you want to go deeper into this, go get the book. It's like $400. It's probably $1,000 now. The new medicine of new German the new German medicine. I have the book. It's expensive as all heck. Or go and listen to Joel Pruckman. Joel Pruckman's network talked about the connection to the mind and the body. When you have unresolved issues, when you're suffering from self-loathing, when you have been traumatized, your mind will create a scenario within your biosphere to initiate a physical manifestation of that which you suffer from mentally. Okay, so everybody knows this. Let's take away the cucarachas. Let's take away the fact of the cucarachas. Yes, the cucarachas is a factor because many people are suffering from forms of self-loathing. Lack of self-esteem. I've been there, done that, family. Listen, you're talking to the choir here. I'm not sitting here throwing stones because I darn Skippy live in a beautiful see-through house. Okay, it isn't glass anymore, it's see-through. But a lot of us suffer from that. And what happens when you suffer from these mental, social constructs that limit you? It hampers your immune system and it allows you to be further susceptible to any form of infiltration. So cucarachas and the T virus is very much a real reality, but it is only a reality to those who match the frequency of that feeling. And note the radiation that comes from a lot of what we're being exposed to, that, hampering your immune system also is a form of compromise, which allows for that type of infiltration.
Look it up. You got to do more than just Google it. You got to go to books. So the post I did on potassium hydroxide, some thought it was a hoax. I guess maybe Monsanto putting saccharin in Coke, I guess that was a hoax too. Look it up. Or maybe Monsanto putting cancer-causing Roundup in fertilizer, I guess that's a hoax too. Look it up. I mean, hell, the Tuskegee experiment where they shot syphilis in black men, I guess that's a hoax. Look it up. Or the vaccines being shot in black boys that cause autism. That's a hoax too. Look it up. What about the atrazine being put in the water supply, causing chemical imbalances in the testosterone and estrogens of boys and girls? That's a hoax too. Look it up. Gator bait where they fed black babies to alligators. That's a hoax. Look it up. Leopold killing over 10 million black Congolese. That's a hoax. Look it up. White doctors feeling that black women can take more pain so they give them less pain medication. That's a hoax. Look it up. So while you getting on my page questioning me, the ancestors said you need to question these devils who's doing all the dirt. Look them up.
Agios est Metatron Bene Magister et Angelus Divum. Agios est Metatron Bene Magister et Angelus Divum.